You're tuning in to Stellar Cycles, hosted by Alina Souza
and Eva Brown. Join us weekly as we delve into the science, spirituality, and cultural significance of our feminine cycles.
Get ready to align with your natural rhythms, take charge of your patterns, and embrace a holistic approach to feminine wellness. Are all systems go?
All systems are go.
All right, we are taking off into another episode of Stellar Cycles. Welcome to episode 27. I am Alina Souza.
I'm Eva Brown.
And we're the hosts of this show. And we are joining you guys back this week for an episode that is focused all about holistic therapies for menstrual and hormonal health. So all the unconventional holistic ways for women to deal with uncomfortable or chronic conditions that they might be dealing with, whether that's in their reproductive system or just their overall health. This week, we're going to talk about all the woo-woo and sometimes questionable alternative therapies for health, especially in the holistic world. We do understand that there's still a number of girls that are like, WTF is a yoni steam, and why would I ever want to carry around eggs in my vagina? So today is your lucky day, as we are going to do our very best to cover the various vehicles of feminine health that may not be available at your primary care physician's office per se.
I love this episode so much. These modalities are really important to both of us. We've dove in, right?
We've really dove in, and I think it's something that's definitely made us become closer friends because we've always loved talking about these topics. Not so much other people in my life as much as you were as interested in these types of therapies. So
what's great too is we're literally speaking from experience. We've tried all of these things. So we're going to give you guys not just facts, but how we feel after using them. Should we start with the updates?
yes.
I'll kick us off.
Yes,
So
what's up with the updates?
I haven't told you guys. I've been forgetting to tell you what phase I'm in for the past few episodes. I'm in my luteal phase right now, as always, our longest phase. And I'm headed into my period. I'm excited about this luteal phase because, as you guys know, with moving and I'm not really eating or working out as consistently. So PMSing was a little bit more this week. Like I could feel cramps in my stomach, but it was perfect timing because this company, Essentra, sent me their PMS relief droppers. And I tried some yesterday and today. I put like 1 milliliter under my tongue and just held it there. And it has cinnamon, all the good stuff we're always talking about in it. And I really connected a lot with the founder's story because there's this woman that in high school, she had a lot of different issues throughout her 20s, PCOS, ended up going into early menopause by like 31, having the symptoms. She went to the doctor when she was younger to help relieve the cramps. They gave her this shot and that she's supposed to go back every 3 months to help with the period symptoms. It ended up putting her in the worst scenario, which is what developed the PCOS. And it just really ignited even more of a fire in me, just understanding that so many women really are, as you say, suffering silently. And they just think that this is how it's supposed to be.
Just part of being a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's so crazy.
She really like dove into making her own tinctures, really trying to heal herself, which is what we're all doing, right? Alina and I are always trying to figure out how to heal ourselves and just put our body into optimal performance. And from reading her story, it seems like 20 years of trial and error, she figured out how to make these tinctures, very pure. She's using old school modalities to refine and pull out the oils needed. So it's a really clean product. And I'm excited to give you guys the results. I mean, I feel like I don't have bloating and I don't have any cramps today.
Okay.
So we'll see. I'll report back to you guys when my period actually starts. So there's that. And then I'll be headed to Arizona on the 23rd. We're starting construction finally on that Ambrosio 15 project I was telling you about. This is their 6th restaurant. They'll be opening at the Biltmore Fashion Park. So excited to finally get it going. And the last thing I want to update you guys on is I tried this new foundation today by Moxie Lash. It's infused with mushrooms. It's not completely natural, and you guys know I'm like an all-natural girly, but this is a friend's company, and I wanted to try it out. It's actually fantastic. I'm going to research the ingredients a little bit more over the week and get back to you guys on that. But I've used a lot of other Dior and Smashbox, Tarte, a lot of companies that are not natural, and this makeup, I liked it a lot comparable to those.
Why do I feel like I was just talking to somebody or was just talking to the guy who started Moxie Lash?
He goes to the book club.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Cool, right?
Dope. Okay, well, my update is I've been doing quite well at not talking myself out of my projects or out of scheduled things, because my problem back in the day was that I would time block my calendar. I would definitely schedule certain things that I need to get done. But then when that moment comes, I would be like, nope, I'm going to go do something else. And then those things wouldn't get done. But last week I was very good at sticking to projects, got a lot of stuff done for Stellar Cycles and social media, set up our YouTube page, and I think what really helped, unfortunately, was that it was very overcast. Again, very gloomy, foggy, not pool enticing weather at all. So
seriously, it makes it easy.
Made it a lot easier. And I'm also in about like day 26 of my luteal phase. I'm noticeably getting more tired in the gym. I can't really go as hard as I was going last week. And it's really makes a difference knowing why and like not getting discouraged and being like, you know what, I give up with this workout. Like, I'm just not even going to come back tomorrow. But instead, I'll do some of it. You know, if I can't do 100% of the workout, I'll do like 80 or I'll do like 60% of it. But at least I know it's because my capacity isn't as high as it was last week, ovulatory week.
Right.
We finished the webinar, which was the big thing of kind of big project for us this summer. So we have that behind us and we are working on getting it up and making it available to the rest of our listeners.
It's a really good webinar. Everyone loved it. It was great to see the messages we got from so many of the girls on there.
Yes. And I've had some listeners reach out to ask if it's going to be available to them too.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm excited.
And just finally, another thing I've been doing is just trying to go places and go on my errands when they're the least busy. It just saves me so much time. I mean, last Sunday I made the mistake of going to Liberty Station trying to get a coffee at Moniker. And when I tell you, I stood in line for like 45 minutes before they even got to me. And all the employees too, it would make sense if they looked busy, but they all look like they're half asleep. So
they needed to drink some of their own
They needed
stash.
to drink some of their own espresso and wake up. But this time I went at like 8 o'clock and there was nobody there. And I feel like I'm finally entering my geriatric goes on errands at very early times era.
You're going to be with your people. They're also in bed at an early time.
Yeah.
You'll start going on walks with them. Hot girl walks.
Oh, yeah.
They would love you. Really quick back to the webinar. If you guys go to stellarcyclespod.com, you guys can look at the information for the webinar and purchase it if you like, and you would get the immediate download.
Cool. Yeah. The website's already up, you guys. Well, let's get into this episode, this Holistic Therapies episode. So first off, we just want to get everybody on the same page of understanding what exactly are holistic or alternative therapies. What does that mean? It means that these therapies focus on addressing the whole person, the entirety of you, so your mind, your body, and spirit, rather than just the physical symptoms. And they aim to promote overall well-being and hormone balance. So the bottom line here is that everything is connected. The opposite of holistic therapy is allopathic medicine. Easiest way to describe that is, you know, you'll go to the doctor nowadays and there'll be like several different problems that you have. You'll have a thyroid issue, but then you also have a separate bone marrow issue, and then you'll have also a blood issue. And then they separate these problems out and try to treat them separately. But most of the time, all of these problems that are present all have the same root cause. So examples of non-holistic therapies, Eva, do you want to give us some that we're all familiar with?
We're so familiar with pills getting prescribed from our doctors, whether if it's I never go to the doctor.
Antibiotics?
Yes, it's so common. And medical imaging, so if you're going and getting MRIs.
Invasive surgery too. And of course, there are times like if you're in a horrible car wreck and the only way to put you back together is to take you into surgery. But in my experience in working in the hospital, how many patients have I talked to that were like, I got so many problems after I got this surgery.
Yes.
You know, after they opened my body up, I didn't have this issue before. Now I have this, and that. They truly believe in their deepest soul that it was a result of the first invasive
Yes.
procedure.
Some things I want to touch on here is that, first off, always go and get multiple opinions from different doctors, because so many times I hear a lot of my clients, especially in construction, are older. So they're getting knee surgeries and hip surgeries, very common. They always tell me, though, Eva, avoid the knee surgeries. Out of 10 clients, maybe one of them came back to me and told me that that was the best decision they ever made, was doing the knee surgery. But the rest of them had more issues. It actually threw off the balance in other parts of their body too, right? If you do surgery on one knee, then you might start walking a little bit different, which will throw off maybe a hip.
Because everything is energy.
Yeah. And another thing too, it's like so many people that decided to not get the surgery, they would go and try some of these modalities that Alina and I are going to speak of today and have the same results, if not better. And you really want to learn about the power of your mind and your body. God has already set it up to naturally heal itself. So just by working with nature and these holistic modalities, you'll be able to really change a lot before you have to go underneath the knife. At least give it a year.
Exactly.
So what's really important here is to try not to have band-aids over your symptoms, which can be pills or the invasive surgeries. Sometimes you really want to look at the root cause, like Alina was saying. And some examples of holistic therapies that we want to give you today is going to be...
Well, things like herbal medicine, acupuncture, I know is a personal favorite. Ayurveda, yoga, meditation, and mindfulness practices of other kinds, and aromatherapy. We're going to get into some more of those. I'm just going to kick us off with herbal remedies. So herbal remedies have been used basically as long as plants have been on the planet, and since humans have learned how to acquire and make uses for them. So specific herbs that pertain to women in our cycles would be things like chasteberry. So chasteberry really helps to regulate the menstrual cycle and alleviate PMS symptoms. So a question that we got in our webinar that I'm thinking of right now is, remember when that guy told us that he was asking about his girlfriend, and he was like, she has PCOS and she's on birth control to regulate her menstrual cycle. And I was like, yeah, well, that's the common language around prescribing birth control to women to regulate their menstrual cycle, but you can't regulate a menstrual cycle that has all of its hormones turned off. It can't stabilize, right? So things like herbs will actually help you regulate your menstrual cycle, because your hormones, whether they're working or working not that great, at least those herbs can jump in there and help your body with those processes that it needs help with. Other examples are like red raspberry leaf. We're constantly bringing up red raspberry leaf, as well as nettle, as those are used to nourish as well as strengthen the reproductive system. Really important for women.
Exactly. And really think about this as the foundation. If you do this correctly, this is going to set the foundation for you to live a healthy life, especially if you're balancing your hormones. You're going to avoid a lot of those other diseases and illnesses that come up later in life.
I'm going to let you take acupuncture because you're kind of the expert. I've only gone a few times.
Acupuncture. I think I probably got you addicted to it. I was going for a long time, about 3 years ago, and I originally went because my hips were hurting for about 3 months, and it would actually hurt when I walked. It was because also I wasn't working out, so my muscles weren't as strong to hold up my body in the same way. But in order to reestablish and put my body to zero, I had to go to acupuncture first. I did about 10 sessions. The pain went away after 4 or 6. And then after 10 sessions, then I could start working out again. And I haven't had any sort of pain since. Since then, I was completely sold out on acupuncture and telling everyone about it. And Aline and I ended up going back to, what was the place we went to?
Wellness.
Yes,
in
and
Mission
we went
Valley.
together. And we were both going for our acne, for our stress levels. For me, that's when I felt the calmest, is doing sessions of acupuncture. Once you stabilize yourself, you only have to go once a month. And acupuncture, it's meant to help the blood circulation in your body, and it resets your energy center, so all chakra points. And when that happens, every area, all the organs in your body are cycling at the proper rate. That's why it clears up everything so quickly, like inflammation, depression, anything emotional or physical.
And I know a lot of people don't like needles, and needles really freak them out. And that's a very valid fear. But the way that acupuncture works is by inserting those really, really, really thin needles pretty superficially into the skin. They don't go very deep. And that's just what helps to unblock those stuck, stagnant energy centers and get all of that energy flowing through the body. And it does kind of sound a little woo-woo too to people who haven't tried it themselves and can't have that testimony of like, oh, this really works. But I've heard from so many people that it really helps with supporting hormonal balance and that it's a really big thing for fertility treatment. When people go and they want to try to get pregnant and they want to remove those blockages that are preventing conception, a lot of success stories for fertility treatment.
Acupuncture has been used in Chinese medicine for longer than Western medicine has been around. And this is why I was so open to trying it. And I mean, when I tried it, I think I was 28 years old. So mind you, I was really thinking it was woo-woo for many years. So many people advised it to me, but I didn't think it would really help. But when I take a step back and think about Eastern medicine and how people in the Eastern world live a lot longer and healthier lives than people in the Western world, I kind of figured, I was like, I would be silly to ignore this. Yeah.
Next, we have Ayurveda. I heard about Ayurveda maybe about 5-ish years ago. This Ayurveda expert came on a podcast and she talked about this ancient system of medicine in India. And it's not so much medicine as it is food as medicine, because it emphasizes individual treatments based on a person's dosha. That means their constitution. So like what they're made up of. So I think
mind, body.
Yeah, the doshas also pretty much pertain to how people look physically too. And they're also body temperature. It also, I think, has to do with elements. So there's more grounded earth element, then there's more airy, and then there's the fire one. I think those are the three. Yes. People who are already very fiery, for example, shouldn't be eating a ton of spicy or very hot foods because that's going to increase all the fiery energy in your body. Whereas people who are down to earth, they shouldn't be eating too much bland, earthy foods because that's too much of their thing. Like they need some spice, they need something light and crunchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always just looking to bring balance to the world and ourselves.
Things like Ayurvedic herbs, dietary changes, as well as lifestyle practices are used to support menstrual health and balance hormones. For a lot of people, they'll use the Ayurvedic approach because that helps them fix their periods. And one crucial point of Ayurveda, and this stuck out to me too when I was learning about it, is avoiding cold drinks and food so as not to put out the digestive fire, in quotes. So Ayurveda teaches you to think about your stomach and your digestive system as like a furnace and an engine. And it's always running, right? Especially when you're sleeping, your body is still digesting and running. When people wake up and the first thing that they do is gulp down a bunch of cold water or like a really ice cold smoothie, it puts out that digestive fire. So now your body has to work overtime to get it back up and running for your metabolism throughout that whole day. So if you've ever gotten tired after you've had a really cold drink or like a lot of cold ice cream or something like that, that's probably why, because now your body's shunting all your energy to warming your stomach and warming that furnace back up.
It's especially important after you work out to not drink cold liquids and to drink warm liquid instead if you want to keep the fire going.
A lot of people who are concerned with their metabolism and concerned with their weight, they do need to pay attention to like how much cold drinks that they're drinking because again, you're slowing down your body's metabolism.
When I was researching and eating more of like an Ayurvedic diet in the past, because I was researching the warm liquids, and I did see other information where other health professionals would suggest drinking cold water in the morning to boost the metabolism.
To like kickstart your metabolism, but there's
not
way.
After working out.
I think all Ayurvedic teachings absolutely go against like
Ayurvedic is, and then like that's just the
complete opposite teaching, right?
It's like everything with health.
It's such a spectrum. And next we have yoga.
You are such a yoga girly now. I love it.
I am, but I don't do long yoga. I'll do 10 minutes to say I did my yoga for the day.
Because you're consistent. Right? Like even I think you're doing yoga 10 minutes every day for I feel like at least 2 years now.
Yeah.
Almost, it's going on 2 years, really consistent with it.
When I have been coming back from late shifts or when I come back late from San Marcos from teaching, I usually don't do it. I'm too tired by then. I just want to get in bed.
Yoga is really great to help realign your body. And you guys hear us talk about this a lot. Everything stems from your body, how you're taking care of it, what you're putting into it. It really runs like a machine. So when you're doing specific poses and especially partnering them with the breathing techniques, because you guys, if you ever taken a yoga class, they're always reminding you to breathe and be one with your breath throughout the movement.
And it's really tempting to want to hold your breath, especially when you're feeling like a really hard stretch or something. But the breath is an essential part of that.
And that's how you get that mind to body connection is through the breath. Because you know how you want to hold it just because you're focusing on the position. But if you can breathe through it, it helps activate your system in a whole new way. Also relieves stress.
For women, this is so important. And it really, number one, yoga is really helpful during your menstrual phase because it's a form of exercise that you can still do, but not too strenuous, doesn't steal too much of your energy. Number two, we always focus on the pelvis and the hips, right? So many of women's diseases, especially in the Western world, stem from stagnation in the hips. Women don't dance a lot here with their hips. They don't do yoga that regularly. They sit maybe a lot, at their jobs or at home where they work remote. So there's not a lot of motion or movement or fluidity happening through the hips and through the pelvis. And that too can contribute to like disease forming.
Right.
And then we have meditation and mindfulness. It might seem like it might not have anything to do with the body and physical symptoms, but mind and body techniques like meditation, mindfulness really can help manage your stress, which then plays a significant role in hormonal imbalances, menstrual irregularities. Eva's personal favorite is breath work. That girl will breathe her way through anything.
Literally, I'm like, I need to breathe.
Yes.
Long exhales. Breath work is key, especially when you're focusing on mindfulness because it, like in yoga, it's all about the breath, right? And when you can just go on YouTube and practice, there's so many different types of breath works that do different things for you. And if you can discipline yourself to control your mind and control your breath, this is why it helps alleviate stress because your body can now handle stress at a higher rate. But also too, if you're looking at stress as something that's like exciting or something that's growing you, which typically people will reframe their way how they perceive stress through mindfulness. So if you can do that, you're literally hacking your body and you're reprogramming it to operate at a higher level for you. And someone who talks about this a lot is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks a lot about mindfulness because mindfulness, it helps rewire your neurotransmitters and your synapses, which are linked to your memory, how quickly you learn, and your stress levels.
When you breathe or when you meditate, that literally sends a message from your brain to your body directly that helps you deal with stress.
Yeah, it puts you into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, which is what we all need to be in, right?
Next, we have some aromatherapy, and people will talk crap or talk down on essential oils all day and say like, oh, that's woo-woo stuff that doesn't work. But smell is such an important human sense, and our emotions too are the most tied to our sense of smell. So use of essential oils such as lavender, clary sage, and chamomile can really help alleviate those menstrual cramps and also be a stress reducer, as well as support emotional well-being. I mean, do you ever not feel better when you're rolling on some really nice smelling stuff?
Yeah, never.
It just makes you always feel better.
Immediately lifts my mood.
Exactly. So with essential oils, you guys know, just always make sure to dilute it with a carrier oil. And like we said, smell is the strongest of the senses. You can really harness that ability to heal yourself with also the use of your senses.
And to touch a little bit on feminine energy here, from a lot of the feminine energy coaches that I've hired in the past, they would always recommend getting into your senses, right? Because that's what feminine energy is in your body. So something that has been, I think it's even written about in the Bible, right, is putting oil on yourself as a sign of love. But if every day you put like a little bit of oil on the palms of your hand and you just have that moment with yourself and you smell it, it helps you get into your feminine energy, which I think is all women need a little help with these days.
I got a little rollerball set from Sephora of the little Nest fragrances, and I haven't really been wearing them, but maybe I'll start using them for that, like in the morning, before I go to the gym, and just be like, oh, this is like my little
feminine
love myself
ritual
moment. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And then Is flower essences, you wanted to talk about flower
I
essences?
want to talk about flower essences. It's something that's not studied. It's not studied a ton, but honestly, a lot of things, especially in the Western world, that are natural holistic aren't studied because there's not money in it, right? So people will put money into, like the pharmaceutical companies will run studies on their medicine because they're funding it. But for things that are free or easily accessible, no one's
trying to prove anything.
Yeah, they're not going to invest all that money, for free. But this guy, Bach, he made flower remedies back in the 1920s, and he developed them because he believed that flowers and plants contain energy that can heal emotional issues. And
I believe that, because why else would guys always bring a girl flowers when they mess up?
Right?
When the girl's pissed off.
Literally, they make me so happy. I like touch the flower, I'm smelling it. We're connected to them. There's a device that takes pictures of plants that shows the energy level that they radiate at, and they all have different colors and different auras. So I definitely believe this, and personally I tried this when my dad passed away, and I used it for a year during that point, and I got recommended it from my therapist or somebody. And I do really feel like it actually raised my frequency, which is the purpose of flower essences, to raise your frequency and to help with heavy emotions. And I really felt a big difference. Like my energy was super heavy, and those flower essences got me through. And once you raise your frequency, you don't have to continue doing it. Your body's already set.
And I think this also stacks on top of like feminine energy, because like it's such a feminine vibe to like, maybe even if someone doesn't give you flowers, you go out and get your flowers and then arrange them in a vase at home and set them up. And then now you raise the energy and the frequency of your house, and live blooms really do change the energy and the feng shui and stuff.
It does. So, now I want to have live flowers, because sometimes I do this weird thing and I connect with my plants. I'll put my face on the plant. I'm like, thank you, plant. And I did it with the flowers that were cut, and I didn't feel the same energy. So I'm like, oh no, I should have live flowers.
Their roots weren't.
On their last leg,
And then dietary changes. We've made so many episodes about this, you guys, whether it's been the phase-specific episodes or the food-specific episodes, but food really truly is medicine. So a balanced and nourishing diet can support hormonal health. So nutrient-rich foods such as leafy greens, whole grains, healthy fats, all depending on which ones you should be eating at which phase, will all help regulate your cycle, as well as alleviate those nasty PMS symptoms that so many of us have dealt with the week before our period starts. So personally for me, Alina, the dietary changes along with the other lifestyle changes, really aligning with exercise and not overdoing it, not underdoing it, all of this was actually enough to relieve me of the excruciating first day cramps that were plaguing me for years. I'm excited every single time my period comes around just to see if it's going to be like chill again.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, it's fun.
How many months have you had that have been great for you?
Let's see. April, May, June, July, 4.
That's amazing. I actually have chills. Yeah. It's really cool.
And then in addition to acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine uses Chinese herbs and dietary recommendations to support reproductive health and address menstrual imbalances. So that's kind of their pill system. It's like all these supplements and herbs that have been working for so many hundreds, even thousands of years. Be careful, because these herbs are strong. Make sure that you're getting them advised or prescribed by someone who's really good and well accredited in traditional Chinese medicine, because herbs can really, really set off bodily processes. So you want to make sure you're taking the right ones. I've had a good experience with Dong Kai and Peony. That one was really good in helping me regulate my cycle, and it was suggested to me by the ladies at OM Wellness.
I love that.
Next, we have yoni steaming.
You introduced me to this.
Yes. So I first saw this on an Instagram Live, and this lady who is a pro at doing this as a service for other women on the East Coast, she was helping women understand what this entails, what kind of stuff to buy, what to avoid. After that, I really just fully threw myself into it, because I was like, anything to help with these cramps, honestly. So what is yoni steaming? You guys might have heard of it. It's an ancient practice, very, very old, pretty much across most cultures. And it involves a woman sitting or squatting over a pot of steaming water that's been infused with herbs. And that rising steam carries the herbal benefits up to the vaginal canal and to the cervix and uterus. So, like I said before, this has been used for healing systems in various African, Asian, and Central American cultures, being especially helpful for preparing for and recovering from childbirth. It helps open up your cervix when you're ready to give birth, and after you've given birth, it helps heal everything up faster.
I love that. I'm definitely adding that into my future home birth.
Yeah.
The types of herbs you guys can use for this would be basil, which is cleansing, rosemary, antibacterial and antimicrobial, oregano, antiseptic, calendula. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think, I don't know what's the right way to say. It could be calendula, it could be calendula, who knows?
Oh, cute. Both sound great. That's an anti-inflammatory. Motherwort, which is cleansing and pain relieving.
Nice.
Yeah. Mugwort, which is all purpose. And I actually use this for a lot of things. Lavender is also antimicrobial. And then marigolds is also anti-inflammatory. And the last one, we all have it in our kitchen. It's thyme, which is an antibacterial and antimicrobial. So you guys could do a concoction of these two, or even just go online and find a yoni steam that's pre-made for what your needs are.
But definitely research this. Make sure you're doing it in a safe way, because it can be really easy to burn yourself with the really hot steam. So these herbs are going to help you with decongestion. So the steam that rises up through the vagina up to the uterus, it's going to help loosen up fibroids, so those muscle tumors, and any sort of calcified tissue. Remember, stagnancy is kind of like the enemy of the female pelvis, right? All the sitting around, really creating those like tight, wound up, even sometimes physical manifestations like fibroids in our pelvis. So the steam is going to help decongest that. It's also going to help alleviate menstrual cramps, right? It's going to help relax the muscle of your uterus. It also helps with emotional support because it feels really nice, really relaxing. It's going to open up your cervix, which is why women are told not to steam mid-period.
Oh.
Because it could make you bleed more than you need to. As well as postpartum healing. So this is going to help with recovery down there. The steam just kind of helps you heal up. Research this if it's something that interests you, and find a yoni steam practitioner in your area. There's more and more women that are doing this as a thing.
Korean spa here. Remember, we're supposed to go one day.
We do need to go.
That's sweet.
And big disclaimer, don't use a plastic container for the hot water or steam. Avoid plastic altogether if you can down there. Plastic tampon applicators, we talked about this in a previous episode. You just don't really want to, rub a ton of plastic down there, or have plastic leach into the hot steaming water and then, rise up into your body. So use steel or ceramic is a good option. What do we know about yoni eggs?
Yeah, I love that you said honorable mention, yoni eggs. I don't really know much about,
I think it's just a fad. I think it was just a thing.
I heard about it even like 8 years ago, and I feel like people are consistently doing it. It is really big in the women's sex positivity group, where women are coaching other women on like how to have orgasms and how to be connected to their body. So a lot of like
pelvic floor dysfunction type of stuff. Yeah.
But then back in the day when I was researching it, it could have bacteria that gets like leached in there. So from the research I did back then, it wasn't enough to turn me on to it. But you know me, I always try weird things. I'm sure I'm going to try it eventually. Yeah. But yeah, right now I don't have a need. Yeah.
No.
But if any of our listeners have used one,
we would really love to know. Please write into the podcast. We would love to know about any yoni egg experience.
Yeah, like what? Did it work? Did it help?
Yeah.
Increase anything?
Yeah. And then this last one is another form of holistic therapies, and it's people who are energy workers. So somatic therapy. Somatic means body. So it's a therapy that's not so much psychology that studies the mind, but it's more of how to get those feelings and emotions unstuck from your body.
Yes.
And I have a friend, Victoria, who's really into somatic therapy. So maybe we'll have her on and she can tell us more about it.
Another good modality would be EMDR. That's where a psychologist is trained in somatic therapies, and they base your diagnosis off of your body's responses. They ask you questions and how your body moves. Your body's always speaking, right?
And that's more telling than like words, because you can control words, you can't always control your body.
Because it's our subconscious that is ruling everything. And when we're awake, we're speaking out of our conscious mind, but that can cover up everything. It's your body that really tells the truth.
I really liked this episode.
Me too.
We learned a lot. And we just want to hear from you guys. Have any of our listeners given holistic or alternative health therapies a try? Have you tried anything we mentioned, like those yoni eggs, acupuncture, yoni steaming, traditional Chinese medicine? We really want to hear under our reel of this episode what you thought about your experience. Also, take the time to leave us a kind review and a 5-star rating. We would really love it.
We would. We'd appreciate it.
As always, our Instagram handles, as well as the link to our free grocery guide, are in the show notes below. Follow us on Instagram as we're always cranking out useful content for you guys.
Our spaceship is about to take off to our next destination, so we gotta run. But tune into our next episode. We'll talk to you guys then.
All right, blast off.
Content by Alina and Eva, produced by Joyous Heron.
You can find more on our Instagram at Stellar Cycles Pod.
Thanks for joining us on this stellar journey. See you next time.